Hi, I'm Stephanie with I'm Aware.
Hi, and I'm Ebony with ENDT's Ebony-Onics.
And together we make
Group Economics. You see the shirts?
Mm-hmm.
You see the shirts today?
Yeah.
Yeah. You see those shirts? So our goal is to network with like-minded successors to accomplish economic growth and helping to others to obtain skills because it's definitely absolutely necessary.
It's absolutely necessary
to do much. So we're a solution-based organization, and our main topic and reason for this vlog, podcast, YouTube channel, whatever you want to call it, our main goal is just to bring attention to
perception.
Yes,
and how it drives our life and our choices. And on our previous episode, we spoke about perception and how it affects our metacognition, as well as our cognitive bias, and we talked about our 7 learning styles that play into our perception.
Yeah, so that was in our previous season that we talked about that. In this new season, season 2, we have been talking about perception, and we haven't been dealing with perception with an emotional intelligence. So we're now moving into this segment where we're just talking about perception and our emotional intelligence, and then we have 4 main domains of the emotional intelligence, which is self-awareness, self-management,
social awareness, and relationship management.
So we're continuing from last week. So our topic today is part 2 of self-management.
Self-management, yes.
Yeah, we are using the acronym THINGS.
And that is thinking honestly in non-graceful situations.
Thinking, like that brain right there, honestly, in non-graceful situations, things. We always come up with an acronym to describe what we're talking about, and we're bringing the awareness about how that anger, that that getting all that anger, and how to get away from that and be more self-aware with your self-management.
Right.
So right now we're gonna play. I don't know if you noticed this, but it's some tic-tac-toe here, right?
Connect-bo.
So tic-tac-toe, connect-bo, however you want it. It's we got to try to win this game. So right now we've been playing games while we introduce the topics and the conversation to you. Today we'll be playing this game to go ahead and introduce the topic to us. So play with us, yes. Talk to us, stay with us a while so we can get this going. So right now, again, we talked about self-management, and right now we want to talk about the different ways, like how we can control ourselves, how we can be conscious, how we can adapt. And right now, last time we talked about our thoughts, our feelings, and actions and results, and how they trigger our thoughts. And then we went into reframing those negative thoughts and reactions. So in order to have your thoughts, feelings, and actions and get a good result, you have to start doing some reframing. Yes. So our thoughts are they should be set by our beliefs, and we get to choose how we act in a manner and what supports our goals. So Ms. Jones, what are our actions triggered by?
So our actions are triggered by our thoughts.
Yeah.
Our thoughts come from the events that we've experienced in our lives that have us have certain feelings based off of those thoughts.
Right. So again, your thoughts lead to your feelings, which leads to you taking an action or not, and then you get some type of results. Our thoughts shape those results. Yeah. So that's why we're talking about thinking honestly
in non-graceful situations.
Because if you're thinking, your thoughts
turn into so many things.
Your feelings. It turns to your feelings. And then those feelings are going to result into actions. But you can stop that process from getting into a negative action, because an action could be something simple as just going for a walk. It doesn't have to necessarily be a negative thought. So what happens when you are reframing your negative thoughts?
When you reframe your negative thoughts, you are taking the time to think about the event that you're in and what triggered that thought pattern and why you had these feelings, so that you can reframe them to have a more positive response in order to be able to be more clear about your reaction or how you feel in that moment. So you want to reframe it so it's not negative, like we talked about before. We want to reframe the negative thoughts, and we want to think in non-graceful situations.
So it's basically just a way to reframe and to view a tough situation in a more positive light. There's actually a book out there that I think we're both reading right now, and it's called Positive Parenting. And it's just about how, no, your kid is not going to be the best kid ever. No, it's not saying that they got some secret method into making your kid do the right thing, but it's just taking those thoughts and then learning how to reframe them to make them a more graceful thought process. So let's take for instance, you hate talking to somebody. So the event might be, hey man, I don't want to talk to this person about helping around the house. It might be a kid, it might be a spouse, it might be a friend, a roommate, just never know. And your event is, I don't want to talk to them because I got to talk to them about not being productive. Well, not being productive is the negative part, right?
Right.
So how you can reframe that is, once you get your initial negative thought is this person is lazy, they won't listen, they won't never listen, it's just going to turn up into an argument, they're going to get on my nerves, and then your feelings is going to be a frustration. So you're going to be like, man, this is frustrating, this is hopeless,
over with, just
nervousness, resentment, because you might not want to make them feel no type of way. So the reframe is, you're not talking to them about them being lazy.
You want to talk about how better they can contribute to the set activity or goal to help the teamwork in the housework or in the business or any event that you're in. You want to redirect on to the matter that's going to properly fix the situation and not just your internal feelings that's got you harping on their dysfunctions. You want to help them understand how they can do better.
So how you can make them understand is you just want to reframe it to a positive. So what you want to do is you want to talk to them about the things that they are good at. So you might have one person that's very good at fixing stuff in the house. Well, you might have stuff broken in the house. You might have almost got her, y'all. You might have somebody that's real good at fixing things in the house, but they may not necessarily like in cleaning the bathroom. So what you do is you reframe it to say, hey man, you're great at, fixing things in the house, and then just help them understand how their productivity will help the household. So that way you can't have, it's like if you're fixing the stuff in the house and cleaning the house and cooking and they're not doing anything and they're good at something, highlight those things that they're good at. And if you highlight them and what they're good at, you can use that to improve the relationship and their performance and get some help around the house. So that's just reframing your negative thoughts. And just remember, when you're reframing negative thoughts, you got an event, you got a negative thought or your initial thought, and then you got your feelings, and you got to learn how to reframe that. That's the way you want to help reframe those negative thoughts. So what is the locus of control? We like to throw out big words and big concepts out here. So locus of control.
So the locus of control is the fact when you have this belief for yourself, whether it's internal or external, and you just know you have it in you to be able to achieve something based off of the way your perception allowed you to perceive the event. So if it was a good thing, you got confidence in this.
So it's just the events and what we think of, like what's in our control and what's outside of our control. So it's like basically, what can we control? What do we have control of? So the locus of control consists of two parts, and that's the external and the internal locus of control. And internal locus of control is just the individual believes that their behavior is guided by personal decisions and efforts. So when you have an internal locus of control, like, hey, I'm going to do this. Like, you're internally driven. Those are usually people that are very internally driven, that, rise to success, that usually they don't see failure as failure. They just see it as their first attempt in learning.
Like an optimist.
So fail, first attempt in learning. They take that as not an L, they take it as a lesson.
Yes.
So, and then
it is.
And then the external locus of control is the individual believes that their behavior is guided by fate, luck, or an external circumstances. Sometimes this is religious people. So if you think that everything is by God, and not just religious, as I say that, because whatever religion you have, you might say Allah, you might say God, you might say Jesus, you might say Buddha. You might think that they're in control of everything. And that's fine because I'm a Christian. I'm a firm believer in the Lord Jesus Christ. I'm a firm believer He died for my sins. And it's okay to have external locus of control, as well as it's okay to have an internal.
Yeah, you want to have a healthy balance.
Yeah. So people who normally have that internal locus of control, they're mostly highly driven, well-driven people. They're like very easily motivated by themselves. Ones that have external, that can lead into issues because you never take accountability for anything, and that can lead into issues in itself. So you kind of want to have a balance of the two because both are self-validating and self-fulfilling. And choosing internal is empowering because it gives you the ability to direct what you do in your behaviors and how to respond to things. Honestly, I think you should have a balance of both because then you understand the external factors that are playing in your life, but you also can understand how you can be driven and kind of help yourself become a better you.
Because it's really in you, like you said, believing in Jesus is all in all in the faith. Being faith-based is greater is in you. So you want to believe in yourself to even have that drive and that success of the control of things that you can change in your life or want to change. You have to believe that part in yourself too in order to take the actions and to refrain in non-graceful situations.
Yeah. So the next nice term we have when you're leading into just the locus of control and how to make those decisions and then having that internal drive, you want to think of the ladder of inference. It's like climbing up the ladder. If you don't know, go look it up. It's a nice little term. It actually has a nice information on it. It actually looks like a step ladder. And it's just the ladder of inference. And this is from observations to actions. It just helps you get from observations to your actions. And in that ladder, you have selecting your facts, interpreting your facts, assumptions, conclusions, beliefs, and actions.
Because the ladder of inference is pretty much just a tool to explain how to make better decisions, not necessarily giving you the ultimate guide on getting the right answer from the decision you made, but it just helps you go back and select the right facts of not what you know, but either even gathering the right facts so that you can interpret them to the best of your knowledge. So you're not just assuming, because people just assume and then go straight to action. They draw their own conclusion, their beliefs go out the window, and it's just straight action. You want to name it and continue to take those steps up the ladder to get a better outcome in the response.
Or sometimes when you skip steps in this ladder of inference and you move from between steps, you might jump steps. So selecting facts is kind of your first thing you want to do. And then you want to interpret those facts. And when you interpret those facts, it helps you to make those assumptions and those, what they call hypothesis or the educated guesses. And then you can draw a conclusion from that. And then your beliefs will help you with those conclusions and then your actions. So then you could take actions based off of all of those. So if you jump from going to, okay, I'm going to make an assumption first, and then you use your beliefs, so you skipping another step, you're not looking at conclusions, you're looking at your beliefs and your assumptions. You might go try to find facts and select facts that are not based on what's really happening. And then you're going to interpret those facts so wrong. And then it's going to lead you to your actions being all out of whack. You didn't skip the conclusion stage. You didn't skip actually selecting and gathering the right information. You just jump. So you just want to be aware of why we do what we do and then use it to help us to make those better decisions. So if you use this ladder of inference, it can help you to make those better decisions and not skip those steps and just jump straight to, as people would call it, like some people would say, hey, I jump off the Eiffel Tower. My funny story is my son, he was taking OST testing, and his thing was he was feeling he said he told me he was feeling antsy. So he started making a paper plane or doing something else. He was doing everything other than what he was supposed to be doing for this test. So the teacher calls me and she's like, hey, your son's been antsy. He's doing this, he's doing that. And I'm like, okay, well, let me talk to him. Let me give him some encouragement. So I give him some encouragement, no yelling, just, hey, what's going on? I'm feeling antsy. Okay, why are you feeling antsy? And he's like, because I'm confused. He first he said, I don't, he didn't know. And I was like, well, let's be real. Let's break this down. Why are you feeling anxious? Because I'm confused. I don't know some of the questions on the test. And I said, okay, well, remember we talked about what do you know? Mm-hmm. So in these steps, sometimes you gotta know like your beliefs and drawing conclusions. You gotta know what you know first. Yeah. So select the facts. It's just like Blue's Clues or Dora the Explorer or shoot, Scooby Doo. Yeah. How many times did they solve the mystery? I win. It's right there, y'all. Y'all see that? Y'all saw that? Did. That's all right. Y'all saw that? Y'all saw that? Y'all saw that? It's gonna get a little loud for a second because she's gonna drop these. But it's just like you gotta find your facts, right? So what he did was he was upset because he didn't know some of the questions. He didn't understand them. So what I told him was, well, let's focus on what you do know. And he went back, he finished the test. I even told him, I gave him a little inference, like, think about how many times we've watched Scooby-Doo. How many times have they solved the mystery? There's no can't. You have to. Right. Even if the answer is, it's, not the answer you want, it's going to be an answer. There's an answer to everything. Yes. You can find conclusions to everything. So in order to make the best conclusion and have the best action. Right conclusion, yeah. You want to draw the right conclusion. Yeah, so it had him having to recheck himself. Mm-hmm. And also with the ladder inference, you want to be able to reflect, share, and ask while you're collecting your data and your information. That way you're drawing from the right sources. So like we spoke about in our previous episodes, you want to find these sources of good people that's going to help you accurate self-assess where your areas of growth need to be in. And it's important that you do that because in our lives, we have all these things going on. Things. Yes. We get to thinking every worst possible solution. Yeah. Yes. So with having that, being graceful about it is being able to find that selective source or group that can help you redirect and reframe your thought process. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you want to use this to help you get better decisions and not to create those biases, because if you have and faulty assumptions, because if you jump, you're going to make a faulty assumption because you're not even thinking. Like his thing was, I don't know nothing, so I'm just going to play with this. And it's like, yeah, that's you can get there, but that's not going to lead you to the right answer. And that's the thing is, you got to finish this test. Yeah. So at the end of the day, you got to finish the test, right? So if we know that, then we got to finish the test, right? So there's no other options but to finish the test. Right. So I put your head down for a second, but just know that you got to get back into it. Definitely, you got to get back into it. Right. Yeah. So how do we develop self-management skills? All of this just to get to the part of self-management skills. How can we develop these self-management skills? So we want to develop these self-management skills by staying focused and managing our stress, by developing mindfulness, building a growth mindset, check the brain, and goal setting and habit formation. Those are ways that you can start building and developing your self-management skills. Yes. And that's managing your stress, developing mindfulness, building a growth mindset, and goal setting with habit formation. Yeah, so building self-management skills is not about never feeling anxious. Right. It's not about never being worried or never being angry or overwhelmed. Just like we said with the positive parenting, it's not that you're never going to have a bad day. Right. You're never going to fuss. You're never going to yell. That's mine, but I win. No. I don't mind. And then, but it's not about never feeling those things. But it's rather self-management is to start to recognize those emotions and then that we all are going to experience, and then creating tools and systems to deal with those emotions in a positive and constructive way. So as Ms. Jones just mentioned, you want to build your growth mindset, you want to develop mindfulness, manage your stress as best as possible, and you want to set some goals. So you managing stress and developing these things, those are like the core skills. And what are some things that we can do? Like, what are some positive strategies you've used in the past to manage your stress? Well, after recognizing these setbacks that I personally put on myself, it was then how can I regulate and develop a better functional lifestyle for myself? And managing that, it took writing down, keeping appointments when it comes to the
therapist so that I can help manage my stress levels and not put myself in every situation to feel like I got to save the world. So with that being said, it was just literally
Superhero
putting you
powers.
first in order to become a better person for those in your team.
Yeah. So managing stress is just learning to recognize those things that are stressful, and then you got to understand your needs. Definitely, I have calendars. I have two paper calendars. Both my phones have calendars. We got a big calendar on our refrigerator for the kids and me, so everybody knows what we're doing. And then you want to try to eat well and incorporate some movement in your life. I didn't gain me a little weight now, but I be moving. Yeah. But I learned that there's going to be times in life that you got to allow yourself grace. That's also a part of managing that stress.
Yes.
And dealing with that coping mechanism of having that more self-aware, self-management.
Yeah.
And then you want to prioritize your sleep and your relaxation.
Yeah.
So I was bad at that.
Yeah. I would say want to sleep because the kids are, they're out doing whatever they need to do. You need to manage and set aside time that's going to help you develop your growth mindset and also your skills. When self-managing as well, just by taking small steps such as finding the area of growth that you can focus on in, that will help you set better goals.
Yes.
And manage your stress because you can keep your eye on a prize for a little bit longer in a certain area by finding that growth mindset and then your area of skills. You don't want to hinder yourself by adding too many, but one or two in that area.
What my counselor talked about, SMART goals. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but SMART goals. And then the SMART goals is you have to have a specific goal. You have to have a measurement. You got to have some way to attain that goal.
Yeah, and measurable goal.
Yeah. And the thing is, what he told me was you want to maybe undersell it and overproduce it instead of overselling and underproducing. So you want to maybe set a smaller goal. So if you know that you go walking 3 times a day, keep it make it 4 maybe, instead of saying I'm going to walk every day this week.
Yeah.
And then you only get
out the week.
And then you only get 3 and now you're upset with yourself. So then that can determine your stress management too, because now you're thinking negative again.
Right. Say that you didn't put all that effort in yourself. So do it in a measurable amount so that you can limit your stress and even mark it on the calendar. Eat well while you're doing it. Know you're going to have your water when you go out. Take the time to stretch before time and just prioritize and set a time. So, it's a hot day out. I'm going to go and walk 90 minutes. You're going to exert yourself by trying to push yourself too hard. Yeah. Not saying don't push yourself, but it's limitations and give yourself grace.
Yeah, when managing stress, it involves caring for yourself as a whole so you can stay out of that fight or flight or amygdala hijack. Right. You can stay out of that mode and then you can deal with situations. It was funny. I think they called me, my kids, and Steph called me, and the day was crazy. It was a crazy day. I'm talking about it was crazy. I mean, everybody at work was tripping. People was flipping out. I'm talking about grown people. You wouldn't think that you would deal with grown people like this. And they called me. When they called me, I was just as pleasant and as possible. And my son's like, "Oh, you sound like you had a great day." And I'm like, "No, it was pretty shitty."
Right. And then grown folks was cutting up, huh?
Yeah. And I told him that. And then he was like, "It don't sound like it. You sound happy." And I said, "Well, I'm not upset by the day at all. I mean, they added extra work to me. I was late. I didn't have this. I didn't get to eat, and I brought a salad, so I was able to eat the salad eventually, but it wasn't at the time I wanted to. But even though the day was crazy and the day didn't go how I wanted it to go, the good thing was I didn't let it bother me. And because I had been managing my stress and because I had been trying to make sure I ate well and I definitely been prioritizing my sleep. I was bad at prioritizing sleep. My kids made a goal. We make family goals every year, and one of their goals was, you got to rest more. And I think I overdid it. So now I don't got a problem with taking a nap in a hot second. I mean, I took a nap.
It's needed though. That's part of managing your stress level and already knowing that you conquered half of the world within the first 8 hours of your day. So give yourself grace. And you want to embrace your strengths. Adapt to certain challenges to make sure that you're meeting your goals.
Don't suffer in silence either.
Don't suffer in silence.
Practice mindfulness so you can get to them goals, and definitely don't suffer in silence. A lot of are the reasons that we have a lot of health issues in America is because a lot of people suffer in silence. So what you end up doing is you end up eating your way through things, or you might eat bad things. Like I know I got a chocolate addiction. Like I eat a piece of chocolate in a minute. Dessert spelled backwards is stressed. Why would I not eat that? But I'm just saying.
Your words, huh?
I'm just saying. Why would I not do it?
Right.
I don't know why I wouldn't. So.
Yes.
Not yet. So
either way, you had me 3 to 4 ways. That's okay. Good business. Good business. All these circles, and she still managed to get me. Yes, but prioritize your well-being, your mental health. You don't want no one to take that from you. Life is going to life, but God is going to keep guiding. So you want to definitely manage those areas a little bit at a time. Get curious. Make the habit of reading, listening to books, films and podcasts. Take on different genres so that you can
fiction. I don't know. Did you ever talk to your therapist and they told you? My counselor told us read more fiction. Okay. That way you don't be so like I could be a very serious person. Mm-hmm. I know you probably can't tell because we be playing on here, but I could be very serious. Mm-hmm. But reading the fiction helps you kind of get out of that realm of life and the stress that you're in, and kind of put yourself in a movie. Shoot, you could be El Capo, living in the Cayman Islands selling that work. You just never know. Chapo. Yeah. Capo. I was Capo. We got capos here, but I was thinking like that. But or you can be Stella who got her groove back. You on the island of Jamaica with the young tenderoni. Right. You just never know. That story that you're reading in a healthy way. Don't go through these. Don't go. Yeah, we never woosah through it and just take it in like, I can't see gracefully in non-aggressive situations. Right. Don't just go. A whole new unnecessary reality. Look. Don't get married abroad. What is they call? I think it's Match Me Abroad, and they got the other one which is 90 Day Fiance. We ain't saying go do that. Don't do it. We ain't saying go do that. So you wanna build your growth mindset and develop a growth mindset that will help you achieve your goals and stay focused and motivated. So those goals can be very small and very simple. Mm-hmm. Get curious, like you said, get curious. Get out your comfort zone. Do things that you ain't never did before. Yeah. Like we talk about going axe throwing. Yeah, I ain't do no axe. Some extra hiking. I didn't do my fist. I didn't do some house shoes before. That's some people. Yeah, all that whips. Yeah. But get curious with you and what you're comfortable with, and develop a whole nother social group to help you develop a better mindset. Yes. Yeah. Set goals and create plans. Yeah. Don't just say I'm going to be a millionaire. How are you going to be a millionaire? Because you don't know what it's going to truly take to get to that level, let alone to keep that status. So you want to do it in measurable goals and make it make sense. Create a plan, and then within that plan, like the positive parenting. Now put all those what ifs in there. Yes. And still make a plan for those what ifs. I was just telling my son this. I was like, okay, so your goal is to turn recognize everybody. We'll be wearing those soon. Mm-hmm. But I told him, okay, your goal is to turn all your work in on time. How you gonna do that? Because if you ain't doing it now, how you gonna automatically just magically do it? So it's like, I'm gonna just turn it in when it's done. Okay, what's gonna make you do it? You ain't been doing it now. Right. So it's like have those what ifs running. Like, what if everybody's being mean, rude to you? You having a bad day? How are you still going to accomplish this goal? Yeah. And what I got him doing right now, as we speak, is he got to write out how I'm gonna do this. And I want that plan. I'll share it with y'all next week, maybe, if you don't mind. It's what you gonna do to create this, to make this plan happen. How can, if you have too much, we kind of touched on the locus of control, can hinder your growth mindset. So how can that locus of control, we touched on locus of control, but if you have too much of an external locus of control, how can that hinder that growth mindset that you're going to? Ways that it can hinder your growth mindset. Got her. Did she do it again? You the champ. She killed me in Uno last time, y'all. She was killing me in Uno, so I got to get a game in. Some game I got to be good at. It's out of my control. It's internal. I'm just playing the game, so. Because I'm internal. Say it can hinder you because you can trap yourself in your own thoughts.
And when you trap yourself in your own thoughts, you might give it your thought process too much power because you're not applying action for positive results.
Yes.
And when you stay in that mindset, you hinder your growth because you're not getting that
regulation.
Yeah, the self-regulation in.
And managing all that stress and all those things that are going on. Because I don't care what nobody say. Certain things stress you out. Certain things might not stress me out, but certain things might stress you out. Right. So it might be stressful that you got to think about what you got to eat every day. Because I'm tired of thinking about it. We ain't got no new animals out yet. I'm tired of thinking about it. I didn't ate every vegetable in the book now. It's like, can we come out? Yeah, I didn't fried, sauteed it, broiled it, mashed it, air fried it. I done did everything to it. So it's like that could be stressful to you to think about what you got to eat every day. You know, whereas some people might get stressed out about traffic. Leave earlier. Set your plan. Get up earlier, leave earlier.
Management.
People mad about they ain't ate all day. Did you even work in breakfast? I had a friend that was cooking breakfast the day before. They was making up their taking their little egg tins. They were making like egg little frittatas so they can have it for the week. So because they knew that they didn't want to make breakfast every day. So they was putting these eggs in a pan and putting the bacon and the spinach. And yes, meal prep. Mm-hmm. If you know you got a stressful life, meal prep.
Yes.
If you know you got
outfits out,
I make them pick it out for the week.
You know, you're going in that office 3 days that week. Pick it out that weekend. Have it all the way out. You just the smallest things can help you live a more functional life, but you just have to be willing to see those voids.
Yes.
And know that enough is enough in order to slowly redirect and reframe that you're putting yourself in this mindset.
Yeah.
And you have this control.
Right. So with the external locus of control hindering that growth mindset, say you are religious, and that's fine. But say you never take accountability for anything because in your mind, the devil did it.
Yeah, I got it.
Or, it just wasn't Jesus's will. And it's like, no, it was Jesus's will, but you ate 5 packs of donuts, and that's why you ain't lost no weight.
Won't he do it?
Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Like, he gonna do it all right. He don't discriminate. So it's like having that external, it hinders you because you never find your true voice because your true voice is always, they did it, or somebody else did it, or you know what? Because they didn't let me do this, I wasn't able to do this. Or because they won't let me do this, I can't do this. Look, my son today, he was like, they watched a movie after their testing and they wanted them to, do a paper. And for him, he's like, well, you said we could watch a movie. And it's like, you are watching the movie. And he's like, but you didn't say we had to do any work. And I'm like, be grateful she didn't make you write an essay. So it's like, you got to look at it like, at least I get to watch a movie. It's a movie that I like. I do got to answer a couple questions, but I don't mind asking these questions because guess what? I actually like this movie. It's not a bad movie.
Yeah.
So you got to look at the positives of things. And if you always thinking like, well, I was mad because he was kicking my chair and she made me do this paper. There's no internal locus of control. There's nothing telling you to stop and let me, I got control of this. So my internal will tell me I got control of what I do next.
Yeah.
I'm going to get this paper done. I'm going to bring this grade up. And I'm going to chill. At least I ain't got to do work all day. Mm-hmm. I'm watching a movie and doing right. That was the highlight of my school year when they made us watch a movie.
Right. And not bringing out the TV on the cart.
Rolling it out.
Best day ever.
You already knew you weren't about to do nothing.
Yeah. And being your own boss, it requires you to complete tasks. And these tasks, they don't discriminate. And if you find them too difficult, it's testing you and your ability to push through. So if you know that you're trying to create a different work environment, or you have a new meal plan or a household plan, the boss has to see it through first.
Lead by example.
You want to lead by example.
Lead by example.
Then you're just going to have different cracks in the foundation because you're falling through it with not following through with what you need to do. So self-regulate.
Lead by example.
Mm-hmm.
Lead by example. So again, our acronym for today was THINGS.
Thinking honestly in non-graceful situations.
And we were talking about self-management and the perception of how you can become more self-aware,
Mhm.
and just manage the things that are going on in your
Right.
life.
Be more emotional intelligent.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So we thank you for joining us. Look out for our flyers because we have a Mobile Friends Giving
Yes.
and a Operation Keep Warm coming
yes.
up.
So we have our donation drive going on. Check us out on our social media, our TikTok, Instagram,
Facebook, YouTube.
and we're on YouTube. So go ahead and check us out and make sure you like, follow, and subscribe.
Thank you.
Thank you.